Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm Kim. This is Kim's Wellness Space. And today we are talking about how everything has changed. Sounds a bit dramatic. If you are on my mailing list, you will already have a little bit of insight into this. But I wanted to come on and do a podcast episode to kind of explain this a little bit more. It's actually a really hard thing to explain. And I'm going to show my age here a little bit. But do you remember, if you're my kind of age, do you remember Care Bears? You remember how they had like a heart on them? And I can't remember, did it come out of their hands or their heart? But they could shoot out like some sort of power or rainbow or this is what I feel like. I feel like my energies are completely different and honestly could shoot rainbows out my hands. I mean, it sounds crazy. I know. I can hear myself saying it, but that is how I feel. And so I wanted to explain how I got to this point and kind of what I think might happen next. I'm not really sure exactly. So that's what the podcast's about today. If you're brand new here and this is the first one you've ever listened to, welcome. Thank you for pressing play. I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to go back and listen to others, there's so many. So I have labeled this is funny. I have labeled this as episode 50. So I was like, do you know what? This is perfect. I'm like a blank page. I'm starting anew. I've got this incredible energy. Like things are different. And it's episode 50. So wow, that like ties in perfectly. Excellent. And then when I went on to my app, for want of a better word, where I upload all my podcasts and they all get kept and then I feed them out to wherever they go, I realised that somewhere along the line, when I changed my format from saying which season I was in, and it was getting a little bit complicated, I just changed it to episode numbers. I obviously miscounted. And so even though on this episode, it says it's episode 50, and I'm just going to go with it because, you know, it's my podcast, why not? Actually, this is my 51st episode. Does it really matter? No. You know, if you're someone that goes back and looks right from number one, it might irritate you a little bit. I did think about maybe doubling up the numbers twice, but do you know what? I'm just going to go with it. So last week was actually the 50th episode, but this is labelled as the 50th episode and it just feels right. So that's what we're doing. So what's changed? How did it change? Why am I telling you all this? I am telling you this because I think that this is probably the most empowering thing that has happened to me, which does sound a bit weird because I have done quite a lot of things in my life. You know, I've had 3 children, I got divorced, had to negotiate life as a single parent, and loads of other stuff as well. I mean, they're quite big things, but there's other things that have happened in my life as well that, you know, some not very nice, some amazing. And all of those things kind of bring you together. They create your character, and that's the person that you are today because you've had all those experiences. And sometimes, you know, like getting divorced, that's a big thing. That's life-changing. It makes you it's like a death. It makes you reevaluate things. It makes you look at life a little bit differently. I'm not going to lie. But that having been said, the experience that I had when we were away was so much more. It was so much more. And it was so powerful, but I hardly noticed it until afterwards, which was the really weird thing. Like, you think, don't you, when you have these earth-shattering moments, and maybe for some people it is like this, but you think that you would be in that moment going, oh my God, this is that moment. This is one of those moments where everything's going to change. And I didn't have that. Like, I had a moment, I had a few moments. Um, but I never realized how much of me it was going to affect. So let's fill in the background. Um, I am someone who is, if you've been in this space for a while, you'll know I am someone who inherently is rubbish with heights. I always laugh and say I don't even like standing on a chair. I can stand on a chair. I don't particularly like it. I, and my children will vouch for this, have never been in the attic of my house in the UK. I cannot get my head through that square thing. They think it's hilarious. My husband definitely takes advantage of the fact that I don't know what's in the attic because I just can't get in there to see. And this is not a new thing. This has just been something. I don't even know where it came from. I don't remember when it started. I don't remember as a child having anything happen to me where I'm like, oh my God, that was really scary. I am never going near anything high again. I don't, maybe something did happen, but I don't remember it. And no one's ever said, oh yeah, there was that thing that happened. And that's probably why. Like, I don't know where it came from. But whatever it was, and whenever it happened, it was something that was deep inside me. And excuse me, when I say I don't like heights, it's not just that if you said come and stand on a ladder, I would be like, oh, I might fall off. I don't really like it. It's a bit wobbly. It wasn't that at all. It was this overwhelming feeling of terror that would grip me from the inside. And if you remember, if you've been here for a while in this world, you'll remember the conversations that I had when we were getting ready to do Tough Mudder. And I had stated right from the beginning that I wanted to do Mudderhorn, which is the 45 foot up and down. And, I did it. I had a lot of help and a lot of cajoling and support. And, the people around me were fantastic. I can't say I remember that much about it. I definitely didn't enjoy it, but I definitely did it and I conquered it. And when I got to the other side, I was like, yes, I have done it. And it was a big achievement. But I was still frightened of heights. Like, that didn't change the fact that I then had to go stand somewhere high, later on. I was still racked with that weird, it is terror. It's a weird thing to say. And it's overwhelming and it comes from I don't know where. So anyway, that's the backstory. That's how I felt. That's where I was. And so it was on all things, if we were crossing a bridge on foot, I definitely would not be near the edge of that bridge. If we were in the car and it was a really steep path up, a mountain, and like you get those ones with the sheer edge, like I literally would be in the car holding onto the seat, concentrating on my breathing, probably have my eyes closed. I went on the London Eye with my husband and I had my eyes closed for the whole thing. I mean, what a waste of time. I never saw anything. He was saying to me, oh, can you see? And I was like, no. And then when it got to the top and it ribbled, I was like, oh my God, I want to get off. Like, I literally am just not set up for anything like that. So there's been so many things in my life that I have probably missed because I've had my eyes closed. But that's just how I dealt with it. And it's well known, like the kids will do things to make me jump and make me laugh because they know that I'm no good at it. And that's fine. Like, it's just something that I accept. Like, if somebody says, what do you not like? I don't like spiders and I don't like heights. It's just part of who I am. But not anymore, let me tell you, not anymore. So we have been on this epic adventure to Africa and it was amazing. And it was always going to be amazing. Like, we've been to South Africa put my teeth in. We have been to South Africa before. It's one of those countries that I visited and knew that I would go back again and probably again and maybe again because I just love it. There's something about it, like Cyprus, there's just something about it that it just speaks to me. It makes me happy. I don't know whether it's the colours or the air or the wide open spaces, or I don't know what it is, but there are many countries that I've visited that I have loved, but I never feel like I need to go back to again. Africa is one of the small countries on the list of places that I've been, and I just want more. So we always knew it was going to be good, and we knew that we had planned some amazing things this time. But one of the things we did was we visited Victoria Falls, and just going to the falls itself is absolutely breathtaking, let me tell you. But we decided that we would go over the falls in a helicopter. Now, I love helicopters. I am this crazy lady who I am very enthusiastic about helicopters. If a helicopter flies over my house, I am the person that is running out the door to find it, to look at it, to take photographs. I send photographs of it to my eldest son. You know, he sends me photographs and videos of helicopters. I just love helicopters. I have never been in a helicopter. I didn't really, it wasn't top of my list. If I'd had a choice, that's wrong. I did have a choice. But if I had been planning the trip, I probably wouldn't have put in the helicopter ride. I knew it was there. I know people that have done it. It wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, while we're there, we'll do that. It was just like one of those side things. But we have very good friends who had last year had done a very similar trip to we were doing, and they had done the helicopter. And my friend said to me, honestly, Kim, it's 10 minutes. Anyone can do anything for 10 minutes. You will love it. You have to do it. If you're there, you've got to do it. Like, you can't not. And so I talked it through with my husband, and I was like, do you know what? She's right. I'll probably never, ever go back here again. I probably won't ever get the opportunity to do it again. And so I'm just going to do it. Let's just book it. Let's do it. Don't think about it. Do it. She's right. Anyone can do anything for 10 minutes. So that's what we decided. We booked it. On the day that we had to get in the helicopter, oh my God, I cannot tell you how awful, no, awful doesn't really cover it, but how awful I felt. I felt sick. I couldn't stop panic weeing. I literally was shaking, and not shaking like, you know, all my hands were shaking and my legs were a little bit wobbly. I was literally shaking head to foot and inside, like my internal organs were shaking. I was a mess. And it's like everything when you do these things, there's always an element of waiting, and the waiting just makes it worse for me. Like, probably if I had just been plucked out of bed and put in the helicopter and not thought about it, maybe the shaking and the terror wouldn't have been so bad. But it doesn't really work like that, does it? So I knew what day we were doing it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, at any point I could have said I'm not doing it, and I didn't have to. It was my choice. But we were sitting in the reception of the hotel waiting to be picked up. And I did say to Graham, I don't think that I am actually physically going to be able to do this, because just the whole energy level that it took me to sit in that chair and wait to be picked up was immense. And I couldn't work out how I was actually physically going to walk myself to the transport, walk myself into the helicopter, because just sitting still breathing was a problem. And he looked me right in the eye and said, we're not having this conversation. You are going to do it because you're going to regret it. And I have to précis that with, if I had said to him, I absolutely am not doing it. You cannot make me do it. I'm not doing it. I wouldn't have done it. He didn't pressurize me, but he was being straight with me. He was saying, like, you definitely can do this. I'm going to be with you. It's 10 minutes. You'll regret it if you don't. And in that moment, when we had that conversation, I was so cross with him, because I was just like, honestly, you should be sweeping me up in your arms, and you should be telling me that I'm going to be okay, and I don't have to do it, and it's fine, and I don't need to do hard things. But oh my God, I'm so pleased he didn't do that. And he knows, like, we've been together a long time. He knows exactly what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. And he knew that I was going to be okay. And I trust him 100 million%. So even though I was not wanting to do it particularly, and that I was cross with him because I felt like he was not telling me what I wanted to hear, um, you know, that I was never in danger and I was never forced. But anyway, we got on the transport, we toggled along to the place where you have to meet the helicopter. And then, of course, they ask you to sit and you watch the other helicopter come in. And then they have to do some form filling and we have to sign our lives away. And I don't even ask me what's on that form. I just signed it. I did not want to know. Obviously, Graham read the small print. He knew what was going on. And then there was a few more technical bits. And then they tell you what you're going to be doing. They tell you how the helicopter's going to fly, where the helicopter's going to fly, you know, what I did not really want to know any of that stuff, but hey, that's how it works. They have to tell you, so fine. And all of a sudden I was very aware that there was a man taking photographs and videoing us. And I can tell you now, because actually at the end of it, we bought the little memory stick with the photographs and the pictures and stuff because it was a memento and we were on this amazing holiday, so we wanted to do that. But I can honestly tell you that in all of the photographs, I look like I'm about to throw up. I mean, they're not nice, not nice. Even the ones where I'm smiling, I still look like I want to throw up. So I was in that moment thinking, I don't really want to hear this. And that man's taking photos of me and I don't really want that either. And so then we get in the helicopter and you put on headphones that have to plug in. I couldn't get my headphones to plug in. Like, it's not hard. It's a circle with you just plug it in like you would plug in your headphones on your laptop or, your phone. Like, it's not a complicated thing, but I could not do that. I had to get someone to help me. I was in a mess, I can tell you. What came next was the most amazing experience of being in a helicopter, flying over the falls. I videoed the whole thing on my phone. I have got some amazing images with rainbows over the waterfall, and we could see hippos in the water, and it was amazing. But on the flip of that, I was concentrating on breathing because I was holding my breath. And so I was making sure that I was breathing. I shook the whole time we were on there. I was so pleased that I'd done it. I was so proud of myself. But oh my God, I don't think I actually enjoyed it. I'm not sure enjoy is a word that you would necessarily equate to what I was doing. I was really pleased that I'd done it. Because you just can't experience that from photographs. You have to experience it firsthand. But I can tell you, I was so pleased when that helicopter landed. And it is very true. Most people can do anything for 10 minutes, but that was the longest 10 minutes ever. Absolutely the longest 10 minutes ever. Anyway, when we'd all finished, we got our souvenirs, we went back to the hotel, and we didn't do anything for the rest of the day because as soon as we got back to the hotel, my adrenaline levels dropped and I was knackered. Let me tell you, I was so tired. It had taken all my being just to get through that I had nothing left. So we literally just had a pool day. So not anything really that earth-shattering in that, well, I guess it was quite earth-shattering that I even got in the helicopter and went, but, didn't feel life-changing. Nothing. There was no moment where I was like, oh my God, I feel different. Until we started doing things in the next few days and weeks. And we noticed that I was doing things that I don't normally do. So one of the other things we did while we were at Victoria Falls was we had a tram ride over the bridge that goes along the falls. And it's really high, let me tell you. But I was the first one to the side of the bridge. I was looking down. I was taking photographs. I hadn't really noticed I was doing it until Graham said, what are you doing? How are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Because normally I would be behind Graham. I would be holding him. I would kind of shuffle along till I got to the point where I was like, that's it. I can't go anymore. And he'd take the photos. And here I was hanging off the edge, taking photos, having a good look, pointing things out to him. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's weird. I didn't even think about it. I just did it. Like there was that terror that normally I feel that keeps me back like an invisible wall of you will not move any further forward. That wasn't there. So I was like, well, that's a bit weird. And then what else did we do? There was something else. I can't remember. There was something else we did. And it was a similar thing. And then we were chatting because we knew we were going to Cape Town. And the last time we'd went to Cape Town, Graham really wanted to go to Table Mountain and he wanted to go up the cable car. We did do Table Mountain, but we didn't do the cable car because I took one look at it and said, oh my God, that looks like something from James Bond, Roger Moore era. There's no way you're getting me in that. So I did know what it looked like. And we were sitting chatting about, our plan for Cape Town and what we were going to do. And Graham said, I really want to go in that cable car. Do you think you can do the cable car? And I was like, yeah, of course I can. And then we were both like, what? Did you just say that? And I was like, I did just say that. And yeah, I absolutely want to do that. And we're going to do it. Let's do it. So we did. And I was a little bit nervous. I'm not saying that I'm like this superwoman that doesn't get nervous now. I was a little bit nervous. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. But I'm a little bit, I haven't done it before. So it's that energy, isn't it? That's excitable and nervous. It's the same energy. You just got to kind of work it to excitement, I guess. But I went up in the cable car. I didn't hold on to Graham. I had a good old look around. When we got to the top of Table Mountain, I was looking over. I took photographs. And he was like, oh, wow, I'm so proud of you. Like, this is amazing. Look, what are you doing? Who are you? Where's my wife? And that's when we noticed that this has changed. I have changed. And then I started noticing other things. Like normally when we're away somewhere where I haven't been before, I don't cling to Graham, but I do stay with him. And if we do that going to the loo, I'm always like, where are you going to be when you come out? So we meet and then we do something else. And I was wandering to the point that one of the days Graham was like, can you not wander, please? Because you don't wander and I didn't know where you were. And we did have a good laugh about that because he is a wanderer. And then since I've been home, there are things that normally I am a homebody. I like being at home and that hasn't changed. But there are choices that I make sometimes where I'm like, oh, do you know what? I'll just stay at home and, people could come to me or I just don't want to do that. And I am not doing that. I am out doing stuff. I like even recording this podcast. Normally I know what I'm going to say, but I always feel a little bit nervous before I press play, record rather. But I don't feel like that now. Like, I feel like I've got this voice that I want to share more. And yeah, like that Care Bear at the beginning, like I am shooting energy at you. Like, it doesn't make much sense to me. And I don't know how long it's going to last, or I don't know if this is me forever now, but I have to tell you, I am loving it. So what's my takeaway from this? There's so many, isn't there, really? But I would say that like we really can change. We really can. Like, I have changed hugely, massively. It's changed my relationships with people. It's changed my outlook on life. It's changed my plans for this year. If you want to change, you can. And like sometimes a change comes when we don't expect it, but it's definitely worth putting our foot out there into that next step to see and just how good it can get. So if you are listening to this thinking, oh my God, well, that's amazing, but I'm a bit nervous, like have some of my energy. I'm giving it to you. Take my energy, go do that thing that you want to do. Because I feel great and I just want you to feel great too. So yeah, that was quite a lot of talking. I feel like I talked quite quickly. I apologize for that. But yeah, I feel so different. I can't even tell you. And I'm so pleased I went in that helicopter, not only because it was an amazing thing to do and it was amazing scenery, but on this side of it, I am changed. I am different. I have a different outlook on life. And I hope it sticks around. I'm all for it. I don't want it to be going away. This is the new me, if you want to say that. Um, and I am excited. What? Oh, I'm going to be doing so many things with this new exciting energy. Like, it's amazing. So, yeah, 100% get out there, do the scary stuff because you never know. You might be like me, it might literally change your life. So, thank you so much for listening today. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it's inspired you. If you want to listen to other ones, go back, listen. We've got 50-ish out there. Most of them are on YouTube, not all of them because I didn't start on YouTube, but most of them are on YouTube. But yeah, this is me, Kim's Wellness Space. Come say hello to me on Instagram if you want to. And I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.